shall we talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier episode 5? Is it the penultimate episode? One episode left.
Mm-hmm.
What did you? First of all, before we get in depth, what did you think of this episode?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought this was the best episode, and I actually think probably each episode has just got better and better.
Oh, okay.
I think it's interesting because my kids aren't really into this, whereas they liked WandaVision a lot more. But I think this is a series for grown-ups because they're discussing some real grown-up issues in this, and there's a lot of nuance to it. The way that they kind of have you scratching your head about whose side am I actually on here? I don't know. Everyone puts. Yeah. I just think they've done a brilliant job there, and I think there was certain bits in this episode where I had a lump in the throat. I was getting quite emotional. I'm sure we'll discuss certain points of it later, but no, for me, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it was a slower episode than probably the previous. I don't know if it was my favourite. I think probably the one previous is my favourite, where everything kind of sort of snapped into place. It was like the big action one, and this one's kind of, let's slow it right down, talk about our feelings, and let's do a fixing the boat montage and then a training montage, and let's all, kind of calm down and get ready for the finale. You know what I mean? They're placing the characters now where they need to be, where they in their headspace for.
Yeah.
I assume the finale where everyone's gonna punch each other for a bit.
Well, I think for me there were 3 distinct sections to it. So yeah, overall it was probably a bit slower. But it certainly
because it starts with a big action scene, doesn't it? That's
it
the
didn't
first
start
part.
off slow. Yeah. It started off with a bang, which we hadn't seen in any of the other episodes, and that that was a great action scene there. Then it does slow down, but when they kind of fixing the boat, having a beer on the boat, Bucky's flirting with Sam's sister and stuff like that, it's all just very Lethal Weapon to me. So
yeah.
It's probably less about actually the technicalities of what they're doing and the episode, and it's hitting those nostalgia notes for me.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this. So, do you know what I actually thought? Like, this episode ended, and I went, there's only one left. I feel like not enough story has happened for that. But I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just come away going, I want more. I want more and more of this because this is so good, and I feel like not a whole load of story has happened, and yeah, it's time. Let's do more. Let's get more episodes out. Which is why I kind of felt like it was maybe a little bit of a slow episode. But then I would say that's also me being greedy and being like other fans have been like, give me more. So what did you think? So Zemo, he got handed over to the Dora Milaje. Did they say they're going to put him on the raft as well, which I thought was kind of weird. Why they came all this way to get him to say we're going to hand him back to the government? Which seemed really odd to me.
I think that was basically that was a line to tell us he'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, do you think? So he's going on the raft, and for a few weeks I keep saying the Thunderbolts is going to happen. Do you think that's kind of what? Well, let's talk about finale. What do you think is going to happen to each character? So Zemo, do you think it's? For me, this is my prediction for Zemo is that he probably won't appear in the last episode, but maybe like a post-credit scene, and you got General Ross, who's kind of essentially going, I'm putting a team together, old US agent here, he's going to run it, it's going to be the Thunderbolts, you're in, I'm in, because now there's a super soldier serum, and I'm the Red Hulk with a mustache, and we've got the Abomination, he's sitting in there, and yeah, how do you feel about the bad Avengers team? You up for that?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, because Abomination's probably still sat there twiddling his thumbs, isn't he, old Tim Roth?
I think he's it's Tim Roth who plays him. Yeah. He's been confirmed to be in the She-Hulk series. He's going to be in it.
Oh wow,
he's coming back.
That would be pretty cool. I definitely think I want to see more of Daniel Bruhl playing Zemo.
Do you think he'll be in the last episode?
No, maybe an end credit possibly, but I think that's him done for now for this story. I think what you're gonna have is, spoilers for the end credit scene, but obviously John Walker is not done quite yet, is he? I think he's gonna still be after
Carly.
I think they're still going to be after her. The Falcon and Winter Soldier will kind of have to almost save them. They'll have to stop them, but also save them from John Walker, and they'll have a bit of a set to there. But I think there will be consequences.
I think Carly will die. It'll be the honourable sacrifice. I think she'll make in the end.
Yeah, possibly. And I think one of the things, like I say, I think the show does a good job of kind of giving you different people's perspectives. But she's absolutely not in the right either. Like the methods, which
she did kill all those people in the warehouse. That was the
exactly.
Like, she is a bad bloke, actually.
Yeah. So yeah, you can't really redeem someone like that. Even though you could say, well, yeah, I can see their points of being really pissed off that, when the blip was happening, everyone could just go around. It was like the John Lennon song, Imagine There's No Borders, No Countries. And, life was great. And then all these mofos come back and they want to treat us like refugees, stick us in camps, and then relocate us back to wherever it was we came from. So you can see why they're aggrieved. But ultimately, she's still a terrorist.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't think she's all that massively an interesting character. I mean, I think she'll just make the honourable sacrifice in the end. U.S. agent get caught, thrown in the raft, and end credits. General Ross, we're putting a team together. I just think it's going to be a case of end credits. Zemo, we want you for other stuff because you've shown yourself to be a few things, some dark places, some seedy underworld places, and US agent, he'll decapitate a man with a shield, so we're going to send you on some pretty dirty missions where we don't care how many people die, and if you die as well, we don't mind. A good scene in this, a very powerful scene, was obviously Sam Wilson speaking to Isaiah Bradley. And yeah, that was probably my favorite. In fact, that's probably one of my favorite scenes from the whole series. And I like that. So at the end of Endgame, when Sam was given the shield, I was just like, oh yeah, he's just going to be Captain America now. But instead of doing that kind of story, they're actually talking about how, the shield does mean something different for different people, and they're exploring that for like Isaiah Bradley. He's like, do you know what? Fuck this shield, because for me, it screwed my whole life up. I don't like that shield, and a black man should not be Captain America.
Yeah.
And he also shouldn't want to. So it's like, oh, well, that's cool. Let's talk about, even though this shield has been front and center of the MCU for, 10, 12 years. Well, let's talk about what it actually means and what it means to people. So yeah, that was a real fantastic scene.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I'd have to say hats off to Disney.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is some irony, isn't it, when they're talking about, overthrowing corporations and evil corporations and things like that.
Yeah.
They're the biggest of the lot. But I think to actually tackle what is a very difficult subject like this, and, what they could have done, path of least resistance, was to say, right, well, Steve Rogers handed Sam the shield. Now he's Captain America. Ta-da!
Yeah, now he's just cracked on with it. Yeah. How great's this? We have a black man who's front and center. He's the Captain America. But instead, they said, well, let's dive into what does this represent? And I can imagine, like in today's world, that for many black people, that would be like, do you know what? No, I'm not all about this shield. This shield that decapitated that man. In another country, I hate it.
Yeah.
Don't be Captain America. And yeah, like you say, hats off. I did not think this series would go to like that place and go to such serious real world storylines, which I really appreciate. WandaVision ended, lasers being thrown about, and it didn't dive into these kind of deep issues. And that's not criticism, because why would it? But like, we haven't had that much in the MCU, and I really appreciate it here. And I think it's being handled very well, in all honesty. It's not really on the nose stuff, and it's just, I just enjoy it, in all honesty. I know there's people out there saying, like, get woke, go broke, but like, it's a real world issue that just needs to be discussed, and it's handled in a great way. And yeah, I really like it, and I really like that actor who plays Isa Bradley. Okay, so here's my last point I wrote down, and when I make a video of this will be the title as well. But Sharon Carter, is she the power broker?
I think there's a very good chance, isn't there? I think a few episodes ago I'd said that, I talked about the power broker, and then I think they introduced that as the title in, was it episode 3? So yeah, episode 3 it was. But I think even in episodes 1 and 2, it was like, well, possibly he's going to play in there, because when John Walker appears in the comics in Captain America, the power broker is front and center to all of that, and he turns out to be just some guy who we've not seen in the MCU for sure. And I wondered, I think I discussed it with Chris, do they put someone in new, just some random bloke who's the power broker, or do they use an existing character? And then since then, I think more and more signs have pointed towards Sharon Carter. She's been booted out. She didn't get her pardon like Bucky and all the other Avengers and stuff who went against the Sokovia Accord. And so, she obviously seems a bit bitter. She's wandering around these dangerous places, without a care in the world. I think there's a very, very good chance she's the power broker.
This is my prediction. I can see it being, it's a random guy, and he's like, I am the power broker, and Sharon Carter was my right-hand man the whole time. And then she kills the power broker, or someone does, and she's like, don't worry about it, I was a double agent the whole time, so things are fine, why don't you go home, I'll clean up here. And then when they leave, she'll be like, now I'm the power broker, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, now I'm going to sit in the throne and run things, because actually I was evil this whole time and I've tricked everyone. I think that's kind of a way to go, and be like, I'm setting up for future sequels if people like me, because last time they didn't when I kissed Captain America, and no one liked that story.
Yeah.
Hopefully people like this story. Because I think like the power broker he's not the focus of this series, so I think they're kind of like, we don't really care it can just be some guy who's like, I can tell you now, it's going to be some like exuberant out there kind of guy, like Ewan McGregor as Black Mask in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
And he's like all kooky and crazy for 10 minutes and then just gets fucking shot in the head.
Yeah. Or, if they keep him around, we were talking about Wolverine at the top of the show, potentially they have him chase down the power broker in Madripoor as Patch.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's the world is the MCU's oyster, I would say.